In lesson 82, we're doing more algebraic simplifications, and they are simply fractions inside of fractions inside of fractions. So just messier than the ones that we've already been doing, but it'll be the very same strategy that you're used to. So here's an example, and you see the 3 over a is a fraction, which is inside of this fraction, and then that whole green box is a fraction that's inside of the whole problem. The whole trick is to use PEMDAS, start with parentheses or whatever other grouping symbols there may be, and fraction bars are considered grouping symbols. So we start from the one that's the most inside and work our way out. Start with the fraction that is the most embedded first. So that means that to begin with, I'm just going to simplify the part that I've put the box around. And I am going to leave the 1 over 3 plus until later. So same method that we've been using when we have a fraction inside of a fraction. We draw a fraction bar even with the main fraction bar of the problem. And who can tell me what I need to multiply that numerator and denominator by, Griff? So I write down that I'm multiplying the main numerator by a and the main denominator by a. Anything with a plus or minus in it needs a parentheses around it. To multiply fractions, numerator times numerator, so x times a is ax. Multiply denominator times denominator. So I need to distribute this a times the parentheses, where I just drew the parentheses. So the a times the 3 is 3a, plus 3 over a times a is 3a over a, but the a's cancel. So that is 3a plus 3. Now I just have a fraction inside of a fraction, and we've been doing these problems for quite a while. Yesenia, now what do I need to multiply by? I'm going to draw a new fraction bar even with the main one, and what do I need to multiply that numerator and denominator by? So I write in 3a plus 3 over 3a plus 3, and parentheses around the things that have pluses in them. So numerator times numerator is easy. 1 times the blue parentheses, 1 times 3a plus 3 is 3a plus 3. For the denominator, it sort of looks like foiling, but I think it's actually a little bit easier if I say I have parentheses times that main denominator. So I need to take the whole parentheses times the 3. So I'm going to have 3 times the 3a plus 3 plus. I'm going to take the whole parentheses times this green fraction, and then the 3a plus 3 over 3a plus 3 will cancel, and I'll just have ax. Did not necessarily have to write this as a separate step, but I do have to expand that out before I finish the problem. So if I didn't do it in that first step, I do it now, and I have 3a plus 3 over 9a plus 9 plus ax. It almost looks like I could cancel 3's, but I can't, because there is not a 3 in every single thing in the denominator. That ax has no 3 in it. So this would be my final answer. Anybody with a question there? Okay, one more example, and then that's it for today. So I look for the most embedded fraction, so I have the 1 over z that I need to clean up from inside this little part right here. So Austin, if I draw a new fraction bar even with the main fraction bar of that piece, what do I multiply that numerator and denominator by? So I'm going to, for now, not worry about the m up in the top. So I could write that a little bit more even with the way it already started. And I'm also not worrying about the x plus just yet. What I am taking care of is the box times z over z. So multiply the numerators. P times z is pz. Parentheses around this denominator because it had a plus sign in it. Distribute the z, and I have qz plus z times 1 over z is z over z, or plus 1. Now I've got a fraction inside of a fraction, so I draw a new fraction bar even with the main one. Madeline, what should I multiply this numerator and denominator by? What's my little denominator? Perfect. So we're going to write down the qz plus 1 and the qz plus 1. Has a plus in it, so we're going to get some parentheses around these things. Multiplying the numerator, I have m times the parentheses, so I need to distribute, and I have mqz plus the m times 1 becomes an m. In the denominator, I'm going to take parentheses times and distribute that. So parentheses times the x becomes x times the parentheses. Write it out if that helps, but be sure to expand it before we're finished. If you could go ahead and expand that as qxz plus x right now, that's okay. Then I also need to take the qz plus 1 times my blue fraction. My blue denominator had a plus, so I think about that with a fraction. And so I have the parentheses times pz over the same parentheses, and the parentheses will cancel so that that part becomes a plus pz. So if we didn't already distribute for that first part of the denominator, we need to do that now. And we have mqz plus m over qxz plus x plus pz as our final answer. Questions from anybody? And we will work on our homework.